Okay, so in this video we're going to do something a little different. So before we've been doing mostly equality checks with our if statements and maybe some greater than or less than type of things to see if this equals that or this is greater than that. We want to do something a little bit different, a more complex type of check. And to do that, you want to know how to use the modulus operator. So we covered it in lesson 1, but we haven't really used it for anything yet. So I'm just going to explain briefly how it works. Let's say I had an integer num and I set it equal to 8 modulus 6. Well, what the modulus operator is going to do is it's going to divide the number on the left by the number on the right, and then it's going to produce the remainder of that division. So 8 divided by 6, 6 goes into 8 one time, and it has 2 left over as a remainder. So if I, so if I printed num here, I would get back 2. So that's a basic way, that's the basics of how the modulus operator works. Now it creates or gives us some interesting abilities when we go into using it in if statement. So I could have, let's say num, let's make it equal to 8. Oops, hit 9 there. Make it equal to 8, and then I can say if num modulus 4 is equal to 0, then I can let's go with num equal of 4. So we're checking basically here to see if num is a multiple of 4, because if you think about it, we'll take this, whatever number is num, if I divide it by 4 and I get a remainder of 0, that means it divided in evenly, and I get an even division without a remainder. So in this case, it allows us to see if 4 divides into 8 evenly, and it does. So hopefully, whoopsie, I forgot to put int down. So let's run that again. And it does tell me that 8 is a multiple of 4. And the reason that is 4 divides evenly with leaving a remainder of 0. So this condition is true, therefore I print this. So let's make it really interesting now. Instead of this, let's go ahead and import Java util scanner. And I'll create a new scanner object here. Scanner keyword new scanner. So we'll create this, and I'll create some user prompts. Say please enter number 1. And then I will say int1, and we'll say that's equal to keyboard next int. Forgot the A there. And int 2 will equal kb.next int. So let's set up a Boolean variable, and I'll just call it even, and it will, we're going to check the addition. So we'll add 1 and 2 together, and we'll check to see if that sum is equal to, is even. So we'll check it to see if it's even. So I'm going to set up this Boolean variable even, and it's going to check and see if I add 1 and 2 together, and if I divide that by 2, if I get a remainder of 0, that will return true. If I don't get a remainder of true, if this ends up being false, then the value held by even is going to be false. So this Boolean value means that this even variable can only hold the values of true or false. So now that I have a Boolean variable, I can just say if even, and I don't need to put anything else in there. The reason I don't need to put anything else in there is because this by itself is already Boolean. All we need is a true or false in here inside the parentheses in order to create a conditional argument. So let's say system println. So if the number is even, let's say your number 1 plus 2 is even. And let's put an exclamation point on that, and I'm just going to copy this one. So now that we have this even condition set up, I can just say if not even now. And instead of this, I'll say odd. So if it's even, we print this, and if our number ends up being odd, it is not even, so we print this. And you can see that that's going to work pretty simply. If I go ahead and run that, let's see what happened. I put kd.next somewhere. So I'm going to enter number 1, I'm going to say 5, and I'll add 6, and that's going to give us 11, which is odd, so it says that it's odd. I'll put a space there to make everything look nicer. Now I'll do 5 again, but this time I'll add 9 to it, which gives us 14, which is even. So I get this one printed. So that is a basic setup with a Boolean variable and a more complex Boolean condition using the modulus operator. I promise you we'll use this a ton later, so get used to setting up stuff like this for your Boolean returns. And on the next lesson we'll go over a little bit more complicated way to set up conditional logic.